Alrighty. Godot 4.3 came out. And we're good, but Godot is not. Actually, I mean, I guess it's kind of clickbait. There's been two like bugs that have come across like my Discord, but I've solved them, you know. One is particularly interesting. Something with top level spawning objects, and I wasn't aware of this one, and I read the patch notes, so like I don't know if this is intentional and I just missed it, or it's a bug. So that we're going to go over those two things. That's the first thing I'm going to go over. I'm going to try to figure out EDU gameplays. Welcome to the stream. Hello. We are going to figure out whether or not some of these things are working as intended. But the first things first, I forgot to do an update for the shader fix. I do have one. So let me just go into my content here, because I do have... I've been worried about this for a little bit. I don't know why I didn't prepare. I should have made a video in advance, but I've been a slacker. I've got a video about using a shader for view models, and as you guys all know, they changed it to reverse the buffering, which means everything gets drawn back to front, I guess, or front to back. I'm actually not too sure. I don't care to know about those things. I make game. So I do have a fix for that. Where is it? I'm just going to grab this. You guys can't see because it's not on screen. What I'll do, I'll put it there so you guys can see what I'm doing. All right. And also I can't see the chat. I'm not sure the top level stuff. Why is that? Yeah, I've got 2 projects set up to show you guys. But I really... Okay, so I guess I go to the video and I can post the comment, right? Well, I can show you guys this. So this is the video that is going to be totally broken. I changed it to 4.2, so I'm going to just go for no ads. Oh wait, I'm not even showing my screen. Jesus. You don't stream for a week, and this is what happens. Desktop no chat. I also haven't set up. I haven't set up my chat yet. Oh my god. I guess for now we just go with nothing there. For all those coming in Godot 4.3, use the below vertex shader function. And I think I had like a git for this, so I can update the git vertex. I don't think that's how you spell vertex. Shader function. All right, and then you can't do like like hypertext or whatever they call it. And then all my asset pros on special. Oh, that's pinned. That's my ad. It's not someone else's, so I am not contractually obligated to keep that there. So I'll pin this instead. And that is a Git project, so I'll have to remind myself later to update that. And I can just replace it with the new shader, and then everything should be good. All right. So before I do anything else, I'm just gonna get the chat working so that we can all communicate. Social Stream is the name of the app that I'm using these days. Oh my god, too much stuff open. Activate, and then I like grab this and everything should be good now. Someone drop something in chat so that we can see if it's showing up. Okay, cool. So this is the 4.2. Bing, bing, bing. Yay, it's working. Nice, nice. Bing, 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 bong. All right, so this is something that came up in the Discord this morning. I wasn't aware of it. Basically, obviously, with the Godot FPS template, some of those guns have projectiles, and they launch projectiles from a little marker that's on the end of the gun and basically sends it in the direction of the target. And I started getting messages, people telling me that they were no longer turning up, which is kind of concerning because I wasn't aware of any change to that. But eventually, after some testing, we got to the bottom of it. And what it turns out is if something is set to top level, it no longer spawns at the parent location and just spawns at the origin. So typically, here's a project here. This is like a cylinder and it's just flying across the scene. Here, I'll run it because I'll just show you guys, right? It's spawning a ball and it every second it just spawns a ball, and that ball is a child of this cylinder, but it's set as top level. So it doesn't like follow the cylinder, right? It just acts on its own. And so that's a way to do it. Like you can also get the world, right? You could just spawn it at the world, but you would still need to know the position, right? Which is fine. Like that's the reason why I sometimes do it this way is just because it saves you 2 lines of code for a checkbox, right? Like you check top level and you just have to go spawn at the add child. Maybe that's just me. Maybe that was just never the right way to do it. But now where's the Godot 4.3 project? Yeah, get tree, get root, add child, stays winning. Yeah, pretty much. Now, and like I'm wondering if it's like my laziness. Why can't I grab this, pull it across? So this is the exact same project, exact same code, but I had to move the camera. Actually, I had to move the level down so you can see what's happening. If I run this project now, they're just spawning at 0, 0. And they look pretty funny now that they do that. I wonder if they'll fall over. I guess they're spawning up from the bottom. Huh. That was not an intended, what's the difference between top level and add child? Top level, here we go. It'll tell you here. If true, the node will not inherit its transforms from its parent node. Transformations are only in global space. So basically it behaves like it is, you know, at the get tree, get root, add child, right? It's the exact same thing. And it works good enough. Like, I think it's okay for bullets because they're temporary. You know, they don't hang around too long. If this was another thing that needed to exist in space for a long time, seems like a good idea for a mobile game. Yeah. There was one that I used to play all the time when I was a kid. You know, like it swings like a crane back and forth and it drops stuff down. Kind of like that, but from the bottom up. I don't know. Maybe it's a thing. So that happened, and I actually don't know if it was meant to happen like that because, you know, like I said, in 4.2, even if it was top level and it was ignoring the transforms of the parent node, it would still inherit the like starting position. So that's out now. You can't do that anymore. You would either have to give it the information of the position, or at that point you might as well, like you guys are saying, just, am I in 4.3? Yeah, just go get tree dot get root. You can have it on a node that might move but still behave like it's not. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so if you're shooting a bullet, you need it to be like not taking the rotation and the position of the player because that looks weird, right? And for highly nested things, like, I don't know, like for me, like I said, if it's temporary, I will do it. If it's not, I prefer to know what I'm trying. I try to have like a node, and I haven't done anything like that in a long time, but like have a node where I intend to spawn things. But yeah, add child, right? And go spawnable. Just like error this out. Obviously this leads to the same result. So you just have to go spawnable dot position equals the spawner dot position, right? And now it should work. So that's really like the main solution. Crashes. Did I get it? There's non-exist in scene tree. What? Is that not what it's? Oh, get tree, get tree. That's so funny. Get tree, get root. Treeception. So you can have node. That's funny. It still doesn't work. Does it have to be global position? Excuse me. Could Godot be fitting for making a game that's a narrative-oriented, kind of like Telltale games, or engines are just tools and I shouldn't care. I choose to care, but about my skills. Yeah, like for real, the title pending fan, 100%. Like it doesn't really matter the engine. Godot is a great engine, especially for something like that. Like I've never played Telltale games, but they're kind of like visual novels, right? There we go. So we use a global position instead, and at that point you might as well spawn it at the root, right? Because like, of course you could still add it as a child and of this, but like the effect is still the same and you're still having to put like the same amount of code. Like at that point it doesn't really matter, but if it's an FPS, it has to be global rotation as well. Yes. So if I quit to the project list and we go to the template, I don't know why I dragged that across. It's going to send it back over to the other screen. So in the template, the main issue was the projectile. So the projectile basically has this new set of code. I basically need to go the position equals the origin point, which is if I go to the weapon state machine, is the global position of the bullet point, and we're passing on the. I found I could get away with just rotation, maybe because that's the parent object. But yeah, I don't know. So I have to pass those. I have to set, because I'm doing like spawnception at this point, because I'm loading a projectile and then I'm loading a rigid body below that. So I have to pass it on to both objects. Rotation, yeah. And so yeah, and then in the projectile, I just have to like pass on that information. So origin point becomes origin point, and we just pass on the rotation of the parent object here. So I can show you guys. Actually, there's not really much point into showing you this because it just means it never spawns. So if we run this and then I even had like a little mesh object to represent the point at which they should spawn because I was going crazy. So nothing spawns, obviously. You can kind of see things. If I aim upwards, you can see it there. It crashes because things are just broken. If anything, global rotation is what I'm uncertain about. Yeah, don't know. I guess that would mean like if the parent object is also rotated. I don't know. Okay, so we add those two in. Actually, I want to leave this one out because it is kind of funny to think about. So you add the position in and things start to work, but then obviously the rotation, you can see it's still like maintaining that sideways rotation, which looks pretty funny. For most bullets, that probably wouldn't matter, but you know, it depends if it's like visible or not, and if it's like, if it has unsymmetrical shape, I guess. So you just include the rotation anyway, and then we're back to normal. So I don't know if that's actually intended, and now things are looking much better. And we're still getting a crash here. So I wonder if invalid operands nil and float. So I guess something here is nil. The normal information is not getting passed on. So another bug that I'm not familiar with. So the debug, this is just, it literally is that red dot that shows where the bullet lands. But yeah. So I don't know. What I was going to do is I was going to pull up the documentation for Godot 4.3 and just see if there is anything that mentions that, because I think that's kind of strange. And maybe it is just a return to like normal. Like maybe the way it worked was a bug and it's been fixed. 3,500 commits, so many commits. So great job to the team, that's for sure. It looks so good too. I just love the new layout. Oh, I really like this. I hadn't clicked on this yet, but like compared to the previous patch notes, this is really nice. 2D physics interpolation, nice. Audio, we've been over that a couple times. It's so good. Declutter, layers, edge cases, back to basics. Okay, we've got animation, navigation, Boundaries, editor. So no mentions, but what if we get to the details? Is there like an actual rendering display GD script? Maybe if I look up the help for, it would be the tree, right? Like top level. Has that changed? If true, this canvas item will not inherit its transform from the parent. Its draw order will also be changed to make it draw on top of other canvas items. This is 2D. Canvas item will effectively search help. Top level. Yeah, no transforms are only in global space. So I don't know. It's a bit of a mystery. Someone out there might know the answer. The other thing that we did was update the... I just updated Godot 10 minutes ago. Well, you're in for some fun, depending on your project. Because I think out of other projects, I've had more stuff break than others. That's fine. That's just a part of it. But it's been pretty interesting. I think that's the only one. Someone else mentioned that they had problems with their environment, but I wasn't able to replicate that. And then obviously the shader is a big one. We've managed to fix that. There's a couple of different ways you can fix that shader issue, if you're interested. And I can tell you about the reasons why I chose to fix it the way I did. Godot FPS Pro. Where is everything? Here it is here. So annoying. Put that there. All right. Okay, so the shader. The view model shader. Afla Dev, hey, how's it going? Can I make this focus mode? I guess it's not going to work like that, so I'll just pop this out every single time. So essentially what I decided to do is change the void fragment to include this depth equals frag chord .z times 2.99, and essentially that fixes the problem pretty much 100%. Now we do have issues. So when I run this game, oh, the animation's not working. I should probably fix that. That's like in the production. That don't look right, does it? So now nothing clips here, but there was another choice that you can make, and people have mentioned it to me. So annoying. So I think this is the most visually good choice, is to just include this in your fragment shader. The other option, we're doing good. We're going over some problems with Godot 4.3. Godot FPS Pro. There's another version of it here on my NAS, so it'll take a while to load up. The other option is to just take what we had previously from that video and just flip the number, but I don't think it looks as good. So that's why I've elected to do this. Still loading. It'll take a second. Here it is. Drag that over. Okay, so essentially what you can also do is from that is just change, this was a positive integer or float, a positive float, I should say. Just change it to a negative, and that will work pretty much straight away. I remember in Unity, I did the view model rendering separate from the game. So 2 cameras, one for the world, one for the view model. Yeah, you can do that too in Godot, but you do need to have, you need to duplicate your world in order to get the shadows to show up, which I don't really like. They don't show up naturally. They used to. I don't know what changed with Godot 4, but now, in order to have shadows show up, you would need to duplicate your world set them to a separate layout, and then tell them to go up. Okay, it doesn't even work. Don't worry about it. This one's got superclass inheritance issues, so I won't get to show you that. But yeah, that's an option if you wanted to look at that. And quit to project list. How many Godots do I have open? Yeah, I can show you that as well. We might as well go over it since I'm talking about it. Godot FPS controller in the Git repos. Because this is like the template that I have on the asset store uses a view model shader. Sorry, it doesn't use a view model shader. It uses a sub viewport, which is essentially what you're talking about in our games. And that works really well. But the issue that I have with it for like a more serious project. So for a regular project, it's totally fine, right? But I've got this shadow here and you'll be able to see this. You can tell that the shadow doesn't show up on the gun. So if it was, it just depends on the kind of project that you're making, right? Might not be a big deal, but if it is, what I believe you need to do is you need to come to your level, duplicate it, which is super annoying, and for the visual layer, maybe change it to 2, 19, 20. I don't know. I've not done this before. I've only read about it. Sorting, visibility range, or maybe it's not like calculation tangents, visual instance. Surely there's another way without duplicating the world. No, there is no other way. And I don't even know if this has worked because this is totally untested for me. I've just read that you can do this. Someone left a comment in my video. Let me have a look. Go back to the video that I made about it. I made an entire 16-minute video that I complained about this, and someone did leave a comment. Transparent pictures. GD Quest has a demo. I can show this. So Amstrad00 says GD Quest has a demo project using this method and has the shadows from the directional lights working fine. It took me a little while to figure out how they did this. It's actually stupidly easy. In the level, there's duplicates of all the level geometry set to only render as shadows and to render only to the viewport being used by the sub viewport. So hopefully this comment helps. I've not tested that. But prior to that comment, I would have said there is no way to put shadows on a view, on like a view sub viewport container node. So if I've duplicated everything and then set it up to render as shadows, I actually don't know how to do that. Like visibility, it's visible, right? My project Open FPS still suffers from the clipping problem, still not fixing it, waiting for a solid solution to that. Yeah, I mean, that's literally it. Like, Godot 4.3 had it going good. Oh yeah, cool, nice. I have one too. We should be friends. Visibility print. Like, how do you set it up to just render as a shadow, right? Like, the visibility range, geometry, cast shadow on, double-sided, shadows only. Okay, so this is geometry instance. Do I get that? Geometry, cast shadow, shadows only. Right. Right, so what does this look like if I turn the other one off? Yeah, right. Shadows only. And then I've set the layer to be layer 20, which is the layer I use for my viewport shader. Yes, I see. We don't need to use collisions for it. Okay, yeah, that works. So that's how you do it. But yeah, like it's kind of like a bit of an issue because you would have to make sure you do that for every... Oh, it doesn't actually work. Wait, no, it does. It's just that one thing is not set up properly. With the little ping pong ball that I put at the end to make sure that I wasn't going crazy. I can delete that now. So I guess I have to push like an update to the GitHub for this. And I guess I can call this shadow geometry. It's gross. I do not like this solution. Like, I that's bad, right? Like, why? You would have to make sure that, I mean, I don't know, is there a performance impact on that? Like, that's crazy. That does work. I'm gonna reply. Just tested. Does work. I don't like it though. LOL. Alright, so I'm gonna continue to still be salty about viewports. So yeah, that was the two major issues that I found. I don't know if anyone else is complaining about bugs. What's happening on the Reddit? I don't think I've seen anyone complain about bugs. Just/r/Godot. If there was anyone going to be complaining, it would be on the forums, right? Those guys complain like non-stop over there. It ain't much. Okay, yeah, no. Yeah, everyone seems to be just happy, showing off their projects. Godot C# events are better than Godot signals? What the heck? Finally released my demo. Did you guys see the guy that was making a project that could delete itself? That was crazy. Anything on GitHub? Yeah, that's a good point. I should check there. I don't know, is it just /Godot? Oh yeah. Godot engine. I've been there before. How would you guess? Yeah, 5,000 issues. I don't know if that's new. 10,000 open, spinbox when dragging files. Oh, you know what? I should check for top level. Project loses its initial velocity when launched. 185 open 3 days ago. Collision doesn't follow parent when set to top level. Yeah, it's not supposed to, bro. After parser error, theme container, critical FPS drop. I guess not. Like, I guess either no one thinks this is a problem. I don't think it's that big a deal myself. Once I figured out how to fix it, I assume it's intentional, but I don't know for sure. Some viewport containers don't, yeah. Top level mouse filter? No, okay. Top level is, I guess it's just it. Yeah, so I guess people seem to be pretty happy. I've had a couple of bugs, but like, you know, they all got solved. So we're all good. I just clickbaited. But yeah, I think, obviously reverse Z was our biggest hurdle. Declutter your shader nodes. Does anyone else use the visual shader? I never do. Overhaul visual shader. Maybe it's time to check it out. Visual shader editor. Is it on the same level as Blender's though? That is the real question. I don't even know if I have any shaders going on here. I suppose I could mess around with the world. You use the visual shader all the time. Yo, that's crazy. Well, like, how do I even access it? I just go new shader material and new shader. Template default. No, I feel like this is not the right way to do it. Hey chef, good morning from America. I just woke up at 4:40 for work. I had to check it out. What else broke besides the shader? Top level. Top level. I don't know if it's broken. It's changed. It broke my project, but we fixed it. And it really is just an extra 2 lines of code. So, which is good, you know? Just what we want. Yeah, I actually don't know how to use a visual for OEM. Like, which one do I choose? Standard material? Because this is like the listed one. Like, this is what I always use if I'm going to use a shader. Well, if I'm not going to do anything, if I just want to add a material to it. So then it's a shader material and new shader. And I just create that. And it goes to the script. Like, is there a way to make it so it's not a script and like a visual shader? I'm a dum-dum. Visual shaders make it really easy to prototype shaders from scratch, then redefine it later with code, yeah. It's funny because I spent a lot of time playing around with Material Maker, which is made with Godot, and this looks really good, but I guess I gotta read more because I don't even know how to use it. Took me to GitHub. Redesign the graph editor. So this is all commits. Great work, guys. I'm always down for improvements, but I don't know how to actually access it. What's this? I'm gonna do this one. It's the same, it just looks different. Load, edit. It's similar to Blender shit. Okay, that's cool. We like that. I don't know how to access it. I'm gonna have to Google. Brave. Godot Visual Shader. 4.3. Okay, cool. If you're not, okay, you go new shader material, then assign a shader to it. We did that. Oh, and then you change the type and the shader resource. Okay. Where did that turn up? I don't know where it saved that. Yeah. Okay. So I guess I just dropped that on, and then local to same path. What? Resource? Type. What? Assign a shader to it. Click on the new shader resource and create a dialog will. Oh, I think what I'm supposed to do is clear this and go new shader material, and then go shader, new shader, and then here I go visual shader. I get it now. Jeez, that took me way longer than I wanted to admit. And then we can do that, and now it's a scene. Oh, it's a Trez file, and then we got it, and I can pop that out and we can edit the shader. Wow, okay, yeah, it does look a lot like Blender's. Actually, it reminds me a lot of the Unreal one too. It's come a long way. You know, it's kind of one of those things, it's crazy when I think about, like, when I started using Godot, it was like 3.1 or 3.2, and I looked at the visual shader and I was like, I have no idea what's going on here, I'm out. And I haven't looked at it since and decided it was no good, right? Like, it's crazy. Like, it could just be a texture, right? Can you just add like a texture plan? Like, how do you actually add something to albedo? Texture 2D, I'm guessing. And then I guess if I don't, loading windows on Windows kind of sucks. Just putting it out there. There are differences, like you have to keep in mind, color is basically a vector for example, but people that are already writing shaders should know that. Yeah, I'm not much of a shader guy, so I actually don't know nothing about what I'm talking about. So if I go texture and then I come to models, textures, prototype texture dark, and I can just drag that on there, and it's like, yeah, that's a part of it now. That's cool. Yeah, I mean, I like that a lot. I guess it depends. Like, I'm not really aware of the kind of things you could do visually with this versus what you could do, like writing a script. You could add two textures and blend them, right? Like I get, oh yeah, right. Like you could do like an add, right? So if I add like another texture, and then I add a node, like, is there like an add node? Multiply? Add two together, right? Oh yeah, and it's even got that, like, oh, that's nice. That does feel, yeah, I'm a fan. And then what happens if I add like orange? I guess I gotta like pick two colors. Like, what happens when you add red and you add green? What does the output look like? Mix textures to make detail maps. That's cool. Oh, could you use it? I suppose you could also use it to make, like, you could paint yourself like grass and rocks and stuff, right? and then add them together based on like a black and white map. That's very cool. So I've got this texture now. How do I apply it to my world? This is like for the top one. It's white. And this is like the internal one. Is this an add-on? It's new in Godot 4.3. Hypertopia. It's the new visual shader system. It is very much like Blender in terms of the things that you can add. So I've added a green and I've added a red, and I wanted to see how that looked. I'm going to try to add this shader to the world here. So this is the box we need to add. I just got to find where I saved that. So I guess this is it here, world.traz. You know, I don't think it's I don't think that's what I wanted. Visual shaders have been around for a while. Yes, they have been around since forever. Even Godot 3 had them, like early days of 3. It's more so the way that it looks and feels. So what does it say in the update? Go back here. No. A shared effort. Visual shader. So overhauled visual shader editor. The visual shader editor has been revamped from the ground up to be more visually appearing and to enhance the readability of large complex shader graphs. Nodes are now colored based on their category, and the icon and the colors of the connections have been adjusted to be easier on the eye. Clicking on a node now highlights it for better visibility. 2 new node types have been added, a reroute node and a frame node. While neither of them influence your shader code, they are useful for organizing your workspace. You can add a reroute node to any existing connection between nodes and move it freely. A frame node is used to bundle related nodes visually. So that's really cool. So it's basically just making it look nice, because I will be honest with you, when I saw it, and I'm talking, I guess, take it with a grain of salt. When I saw it in 3.1, I bounced immediately. I was like, I'll just write code if I need to. And I mostly just download other people's, if I'm being honest. And I'll probably continue to do that because shaders are really hard, man. Like, massive respect for people that write them. You have to be so good at math. This doesn't even work, and I don't even know why. I can multiply them. Divide. Power. I don't even know what I'm doing at this point. Anyway. Reset? Is this a saved resource? It's just a standard material. You can do everything with the visual shader that you can do with shader code. Since the visual shader gets converted to code, you can even view the code the visual shader generates. Yeah, that's actually cool. Yeah, I just write them, but I mean, like I said, I barely write them. I try to avoid doing that as much as possible. I think I wrote one, I've written a couple of shaders. I made a video about doing a tilt shift shader and it was bad. Like, it's not good shader code. And I also made like a portal effect in 2D, which was pretty cool. But like, that was like harvested from like other people's shaders. Like, you know, I think it's pretty common, like what I do, especially with shaders, is like something that's close to what I want, but not quite. And then I take that and I try to modify it to make it work, if that makes sense. I need to add an albedo texture of textures, prototype, dark. And I just need to set the UV one to be triplanar. And we should be back to looking, yep, pretty much the same. Great. Okay, we're back to how it should be. Everything's working normal. I still have a bug with this gun here. That doesn't show up all the time, but only some of the time. Look at that. I am not adding the rotation of, I don't know what this is, the camera. So in the code, okay, so perhaps does the shotgun reload work? Yes, in theory, it should be fine. I don't think anything would have changed there. Let's just shoot a couple of shotgun pellets. So what we're expecting to see, you guys can't see my, let me just pull this over because it's a bit bigger. What we're expecting to see with the shotgun reload is this 3.9 reload work incrementally. So every time the animation runs, it reloads one time. So let's try that. And yes, I think that was okay. That was expected behavior, right? Let me just run that again. Could you set the rotation to the velocity at the lookout? Yeah, you could. You probably need to do some math. It'd probably be easier, right, to work out the rotation based on that. It wasn't working on the template. Okay. Which template? It does look really weird, right? They both change at the same time, which is kind of like confusing. But yeah, you know, I might need to push an update. Where'd you download it from, Prashana? Probably itch, right? I don't know if I've updated in a bit. It just keeps going. The asset library, okay. Yeah, that one might be a bit out of date. I do need to run an update because I haven't updated it for Godot 4.3. There isn't anything in the template except for this problem that I've uncovered with the with the projectiles that I'm aware of. But we'll still work on it and we'll hopefully push an update before the end of the week. And that should be fixed because whatever that problem is, it's gone now. So I probably fixed it and then just forgot to update it. Whoops. All right. So let's have a look at this problem that we're aware of here for the projectile. So the rotation we're giving it is okay for the horizontal, but realistically, you're right. NA games, I could probably work out the rotation that needs to be. I think the problem is we're making a couple of, like, will the math be right all the time, I guess is the question, right? Like, assuming that the, coming back out to here, I think it's Blast L. Assuming that the projectile is always facing on the z-axis. I guess we have to make that assumption because mine does. And if yours didn't, then the math would be wrong. Which I guess is just like, whatever. It is what it is. We can only get so right. The other option is to take the rotation from the camera, which is a lot easier. So we've got the origin point and we're just giving the rotation of the... So I guess the question is, could we use global rotation? I don't think that would work, right? Is that going to like work better? Let's just check that before we do anything else. Oops, my bad. I'm taking you not. No, I like Godot 4.3. It's mostly clickbait. We've had a couple of issues with the asset pack. That I wasn't aware of. It's pretty funny. It's like there's this delay. It's out for 2 days, and then this morning I woke up and there was heaps of people chatting on the Discord. But so let's go and grab this. Okay, that's even worse, to be honest. Look at it go. Any major 0.0 release has bugs. Yes, yeah, that's pretty much it. Like it's not, this is not like I don't like it. It's just like it is what it is. We gotta fix some stuff. 2D linear velocity, forward direction equals linear velocity plus global position. Plus global position. Huh. We could get direction too. That would probably be a way to do it. Like there's a function. Lookout forward. I don't like using lookout. It sucks. Yeah, but it probably will work. Lookout never works the way that I want it to, I think is the problem I have. Like, it sounds like such a good idea, and then it just doesn't. So let's just comment that out for a second. Just change this back. Yeah, Blender fan. Yeah. The Blender has the best shader functions ever. Even I like to use it, and I'm not good at shaders. So we want to go prod dot look at. Look at. It's a rigid body. Does it have that function? Let's just tell it that it's a rigid body. Let's type it. Oh, it's actually a projectile technically, right? Or is it? Questions. No, it's just a rigid body. So let's go back to the script. And Starks. Hey, welcome to the stream, Starks. Okay, so proj.lookAt. So now it wants a function call because it wants a place to look. Now I believe the point is what we'd probably want to feed it. Let's give it a go. I'm trying to work out what it's meant to do. Why does it look like that? That one looked good. What is going on? You made all of this in stream? No, not all of it. Some of it I've made off stream. I was streaming a fair bit, but then I slowed down a little. It was... Sometimes it's fun, sometimes it's not. But yes, 9 years. I've been a Blender user for 9 years. Whoa, that's crazy, LT Dog. I guess I started, you know, like, I would say that I first downloaded Blender in like 2005, 6. I was in high school, for sure. I was in high school using Blender, but I was not a serious user, and I stopped using it for like over 10 years. It was released in the 90s, right? Been around forever. 1994, yeah. I feel like I was using it in 2005, and I stopped using it after high school because I was doing graphic design and stuff like that in high school. And then when I left high school, I didn't continue that study, and I got back into it. That's how I started getting back into making games. In like 2018, I took a course. Do you need to change the rotation value on the bullet spawn pivot? Maybe. Maybe that is a good point. I was kind of hoping, because the bullet is still top level, right? Like, it still should just be able to, we should be able to manipulate that. Look, I've got errors everywhere. Node is not inside, look out from position. Node is not inside tree. Oh, wow, look at that. I didn't even realize I'd done that. I have actually changed where to spawn it. And I'm instead of get tree gut root, I'm using get node in for get first node in group world, which is a way to do it. So it was early this morning, guys. Don't make fun of me. So it's not actually worked because it wasn't in the tree. So now we just put it below, and hopefully it will work. It's still got errors. Node not inside. Look at from position. Okay, let's just change it anyway. I think that's because it's like not actually loaded in yet, right? Node not inside tree, right? Like, oh yeah, look, I gotta put it underneath the add child. I'm an idiot, don't worry. We'll get it right. Let's give it another run. Hey, look at that. That looks pretty good. It does, it goes to the project. Okay, we're back in action, boys. Thank you, NA Games, for that suggestion. Things look good. Let's test out the rocket launcher because that's the other rigid body. I believe that's got its own custom script. So if I go to the player character, Control Shift 11, I don't even know what the blaster is. Blaster Q, I guess. Projectile to load. It looks like a box. I don't know why they all have the box. Projectile. It's got its own script. So let's fix this. Here we go again. Okay, so for the most part, the things I do in Blender are engine agnostic, so I can recreate what I did in Blender in the visual shader graph. There's a surprisingly lot of overlap. That's actually really cool to know. Wow, that's really cool. I didn't know that. I should probably look at that more. Okay, what are we doing here? Am I just not passing that information on? In terms of procedural textures, definitely harder to make in Godot. But yeah, right? Okay, but procedural textures are very taxing and hard to render in real time. So you should be baking it. Yeah, I agree with that. You make it in Blender and then you bake it down to a texture. Okay, so what are we doing here? We are getting the projectile, and it's just, we're overriding the on-body entered function, so we should be fine, but we're not. Typical. I don't know. Let's have a look. Rigid body projectile open. Is there something in this? It's not set as top level. Does that matter? I don't think so. Not with the way that I've changed it, but I'll tick it anyway, just in case. It hit. Okay, hang on a second. I just can't see it. So the funny thing that I did for the other one was just make the bullet really big. So like wherever it was spawning from, I could see it. So we can just like make this thing really big. It's shy, yeah. And then we can start to hopefully discover where it's spawning in from. I'll just shoot straight up. It's definitely hitting the right, like the spot you expect it to, right? Like if I shoot it there, they're all reacting to it the way that you want it to, but it's not being seen. Yeah, I don't know, actually. Am I getting an error in the debug? No. Signal zoom, signal update overlay. I wonder if this bug persisted before. Yeah, I don't know. What could possibly be causing that? And this is just on body entered. So we're overriding what happens when the bullet makes contact with the world, but this is all still happening. Set as top level is commented out. It's not really necessary anymore anyway. Like if I go to 3D here, this one's, is it set as top level? It's not, because you don't need it if you're spawning in the world. Now, what about these is different? They're facing the opposite directions, but I don't like that it's rotated a certain way. Not really gonna matter. What do we think? What do we think? I think the explosion radius. dude. I don't even know, actually. Extends projectile. I actually thought this was more complicated than what I've done here, which is like, we've got the explosion shapecast 3D, and we just loop over all the targets within that shapecast to determine an explosion, essentially. Gets queue freed, but this is on bodied entered, and this is the only function that we're overriding, which means everything else holds the same. It's definitely making impact because that is the function, right? Like we call on bodied entered, check the node in the remote scene tree. Yeah, good point. So what we can do is before we queue free, put a breakpoint. And then we'll get broken out and we can have a look what's actually happening. Actually, take that back. There should be a script. Projectile. Let me just check something right before that. The body entered. So on body entered, when we spawn it, we don't set anything. We receive the projectile from the on body and we queue it free from this script. So yeah, that is what we're doing there. Projectile queue free. I want to break before I queue it free. Cool. Okay. Got it. Oh. It just works now. Do you love that? Oh yeah, let's just... The breakpoint isn't triggering either. What the heck? Am I... What? Why does this always happen to me? Okay, I guess the breakpoint's not going to work because it's technically not on a line of code. I probably did that wrong. So now it will, but we know it's working now because like it's visibly there. So does it require a breakpoint to work? What's the deal? Maybe it just needed to reload this scene. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Let's just bring this back down to like 10 or something. I don't even know what it was originally. And I also think it's coming from the center of the screen, which it shouldn't be. It should be coming from the point. It looks alright. Maybe it was that top level check. Yeah, but it started with that off. I don't know. Who cares? It could be that. If I turn it to top level, what happens? Yeah, definitely has something to do with that. How can it be top level if it's in the world, which is already top level? Shotguns are so much fun. Love it. Because the mesh is repositioned to 0, 0, but the mesh itself is going to where it needs to be. Yeah, that's probably it. Yeah, because even in the world, if you set it as top level, it will like reset its position. So that's probably what's happening there. It always goes to 0, 0 now. Not sure if it's intentional, but we'll roll with it, you know? All right, awesome. Okay, so that's pretty much it for stuff that I wanted to check out. I got to push an update for this because there's probably a lot changed. Just to bring it even forward to 4.2, because I'm pretty sure it's going to be flagged as out of date in the asset library. So I'll have to do that. I'll wait a couple of days to see what else comes up, essentially. So let's quit down to the project list. And I've got a new project that I'm working on. Not a new game. This is a project for content, for making tutorials. And because I think it was you, NA Games, that was telling me that I needed to make a state machine, right? Like the stream, like, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. But yeah, I'm pretty sure you were saying that I needed to make a state machine. So I'm making a state machine. a 4.3. I was actually started working on this in 4.2, so I just checked that it still runs, and it looks like it does, which is nice. So I'm just basically going through and making these so that I can make a tutorial. I think I'm gonna make a third-person shooter, right? Because shooters are like just you were talking about it about the atomic state asset. That's right, yeah. And I just was like, well, to be fair, I always just make my own, and so I just wanted to redo it in a more clean manner. So just like clean up some of the classes, clean up some of the things that I do, so that it's more readable, right? Fix up the code as much as I can. So I'll show you guys the state. This is the state machine class. Start there. So essentially all I do is I've got a state map, which is just like so that I can emit a signal for the name of the state from different states. And so it's just a dictionary. I take the name of the node and I set it to the node, which is pretty straightforward, right? So that's pretty much all we've got here. Obviously the current state starts off as null, active is false, but then it gets set to true in the initialize. So basically we create the map, we initialize the state machine, which is essentially setting the current state to be equal to the state, which is the start state when we start the game. And then obviously then we just go into our state machine. So pretty basic. Essentially, this is controlling the input and the physics process, right? So this is calling, every tick it's calling current state.update and current state.input, well, every time there's an input. So it's getting passed down into the current state and only the current state, right? That's the main advantage of using a state machine. You're not processing checks on like anything by mistake. You're only working in the current state that you intend to be in, which really helps prevent you do things that are unexpected. Like I always had problems when I first started out and I was using an enumerated state machine, and say like if you wanted to dash but then you also pressed jump, what would happen if you know, like all those kind of things, it would lead to unexpected events. Essentially, I remember in one of my first games, like the sprite didn't reset properly and you would end up like looking funny, all that kind of stuff. So you can really have a lot of control over what you do. And then obviously we have the main change state function, which is really basic. It just calls exit on the current state and then changes the state, calls enter, and emits on state changed. And this is really just a debug for that label that we see in the game. So that's where I'm at. I need to create a jump. I don't like the angle of the camera. I think I'm going to change that because it's very top. Like originally I was like, oh yeah, I'll make like a top-down shooter, and we can basically make a longer tutorial where we go over the state machine, and then I'll also include like an updated weapon manager as well, so it can run for like a little bit longer. I see how you do it. The one thing that is nice, I guess, about Atomic State is it uses children node to tell what states it can change to. I guess I do that too, right? Like it's here. So I guess I should look into the add-on, because like I don't know exactly what it does, and it probably does stuff better than what I can write in code. I guarantee it, because I'm kind of like, I've only been writing state machines for like a year and a half, 2 years maybe. But yeah, I want to fix this camera up because I think it'd be better to be like a third-person shooter. I think that would be more popular. I'm just basing that off like what I think. I don't know if that's true. So I mean, like children of idle, for example, to run or to jump. Oh, like you can have sub-states. Like there would be a child in here. That's cool. Yeah, I suppose technically you could do that here as well. It would require another, like the state, right? Like the state itself doesn't do anything. It just has these 4 functions: enter, exit, input, and update. Like it wouldn't be able to hold its own states. So yeah, it doesn't do that. And like a valid point, because like I'm just going, hey, if there's input basically in the idle, it goes to run. And funnily enough, still could technically move around if I let it, because it's calling all the same functions. But yeah, I don't know. Idle and run are kind of funny because they can kind of be the same thing. And like I mean, I learned from, who is it? GD Quest. GD Quest had like a video 2 years ago. It's really old now. It would not be like valid, right? GD Quest. State machine. These guys taught me how to do it. Finite state machine in under 10 minutes. No, that's a bit like Godot 3 finite state machine. Welcome. And it's not a tutorial, it's just an example. So you sort of have to teach yourself, but it was good as a starting point. This is way back in the day. So yeah, that's when I learnt. Actually, I wasn't using Godot at that point, but yeah. That's when we were in it. I won't share this because I actually don't think it would be helpful for people on Godot 4. But yeah. Not relevant anymore. Alright, so we've got the movement state machine, right? We've got the jump, and I was fixing the camera. How does it look now? Pretty good, right? We've got like a better angle. Probably needs to be closer, but what I wanted to do is implement the jump first of all, and then also set up like camera movement for the mouse because I don't have that yet. So for the jump, we want to be calling the enter function we want to be in the update. We do want to be calculating the velocity. I think it's really like, it's up to most people. This is just a preference, whether or not you want to be able to, not found in set direction, not found in base off, because it extends state. It needs to extend motion. However, I wanted to create a subclass and I forgot that because I always create a subclass. So create new script. Inherits motion. No games. Ah, no worries, man. Have a good day. Inherits motion, and it's called in air. Create. And this just helps, like, in air extends motion. I did that wrong. Class name. I'll try. I haven't got much left. It's 8:30. Class name. It's going well so far though. Class name is in air with an E for some reason. I don't know why I keep doing that. And I'm not going to put anything in this yet. It will, if I decide to do like a fall state, which I probably will, then we can include that and we can test for that here, or we can use different inputs. I don't know, but it's going to be helpful in the future. So we just have that in air. Basically to help segregate our inputs from ground, essentially. So we do have direction, gravity, and velocity. Like I was saying before, it's kind of a preference. If you actually want to have movement when you're in the air, you can dampen it. We can set a function for that. But I'm just going to keep it as it is for now. I'm going to call enter. I don't think it takes anything. Void. Just write pass for now. Right, okay, and we can create a function. We can just call it jump. Void. And so this is where we can set the velocity to be equal to the velocity.y equal to the jump velocity, which is jump velocity here. It's already telling me that. All right. And I mean, it doesn't really need to be a function right now, does it? But we'll make it a function as we expand. So how do we actually trigger that? We go back to the on ground. You could make a state machine for a weapon manager to separate throwing grenade, reloading melee. Yeah, I could totally do that. I'm new to your FPS project, so I don't know what system you have in place for that. I use the animation player as like a pseudo state machine. So basically you're just testing out the animation to see what's currently playing. And if nothing is playing, then it's free to enter into whatever state it wants. So if you were to reload, it's going to check to see if any animation is playing. If there isn't, then it'll reload. So on and so forth. It's okay. I would call it like, to be honest, like for a basic FPS, it's fine. But like for more complicated stuff, you're going to need a state machine because like it gets, you end up checking a lot of variables, right? So for something simple, okay. But yeah, if you're trying to make like a survival shooter like Tarkov or DayZ, you're probably going to need a state machine. If you're trying to make like Halo, you're probably okay with what I've done. Okay, so we've got direction on ground. We want to input, do a jump here. That's what I said. So basically we are going to go, I'm using Linux and I noticed that HTTP client node, but also the asset library update checks are broken. It seems to be a problem specific to the Arch package. That's interesting. I'll have to jump on my Arch build and check that out. Huh. Good old Arch. You have to download an AUR version of it, or just the app image, I guess, because they do offer an app image. I used to use the app image all the time before I switched to Arch, because it's the only repo that, well, it's the only distro that has like an up-to-date repo for Godot. Like, I feel like at some point when Godot 4 had been out for a few months, like in Ubuntu and Pop! OS, they were still offering Godot 3, and it was like, what the heck? I use the AR package. Okay. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, the app image is fine. You just have to click it. I guess you could set it up to be like in the launcher. It's a few extra steps, you know. The animation system is so good. I need to make a video about it. I got a lot of work to do in terms of content. Okay, state input, do a jump. So we can just go exit. No, that's not what exit is for. We can go finished is the keyword here. And then we say emit. And the keyword is, it needs to be the same as the state machine here. So it just needs to be jump, right? And then in theory, we should enter into the jump. Now in the jump, we have no return. So we do need to be testing for that. I think in motion should have like a function. So because we test like owner.isOnFloor, there's no way for the state machine to know. I don't really like doing this, but you know, sometimes there isn't a way. Check floor, right? And it doesn't take anything, but it does return a bool, right? And then it literally just returns owner is on floor, right? Like, I don't like using owner, but like in this case, there's no way for this because it is just like not a kinematic body or character body, as they call them these days. So we do need to use that. The other alternatives to create like a callback function, like we could emit a signal that calls back the state machine, but that's kind of messy. So it's much easier just to go owner is on floor. Okay. So in jump, we can go if check floor, right? Then finished emit. And for now, we'll go back to idle. We'll have to think about how we decide to go back for now. We should go back to previous. I can set up some code to go back to the previous one, depending on what state you were in. Or in the past, what I've done is just do a bunch of checks to see what the character is actually doing before deciding to, like checking for input. Like we could check for input here and then decide whether or not we go to run an idle. They do the same thing, so it's not a big deal, but just have to remember that for later. Might have to think of a more elegant way of doing it. Okay. Oh, we go into a jump straight away. Might have in air on ground. I think I made like a mistake in this on ground. I'm actually just like admitting that. What I need to do is check the spacebar. Idiot. Jump. I haven't actually set any inputs up for this project. Spacebar. I also, what I'll do is up, down, left, right. Because I don't have unique checks for that, right? Up, down, left, right. Okay, great. So now we have those. We can go if event dot is action pressed jump finished emit jump. Okay, that makes more sense. And then in the motion, oh, it's not happy. Oh, I forgot thought I was writing Python for a second. Actually, I don't even know if that's, anyway, never mind. And in this, we can just go left, right. Okay, this is kind of hard to read. Sorry about that. Just realized. There we go. Right. Up. Down. Alrighty. Okay, so let's try again. Run, jump. Now, the thing is, we are getting sent into the run, and then we're instantly getting sent back into the... we're getting into the jump and then instantly getting sent back into the run. I'm not a fan of this, right? So we might need to put a delay on that check, or... yeah, I think that's really the issue, right? Like it's detecting that it's on ground before it even leaves the ground. Yes. But other than that, it works as expected. You can sort of get away with that, but unless you want to do something specific in the air, like I want to set up a fall state because we want to fall at a different rate or whatever, like you can do that kind of stuff. Or like say you can enter into like a wall run, but not when you're falling, only when you're jumping. I don't know. I wonder what I've done in the past. Because I've done this a bunch of times now. Because now, well, we can't. Yeah, we can do a double jump, right? Because the assumption is that run is happening when you're on the floor, so you don't need to check that you're on the floor before you enter into the jump. So we can set up another function called like wait. Man, I really don't want to do that. Should I do a timer? Or should I find another way? We are literally just checking that. We are on the floor. We just need to wait for like half a second. What's the process? Yeah, I would say that this gets called slightly before that. So if I create a variable called like check jump and set it equal to false, got the equal sign, and what we can do is then once we do this, we can go get tree dot create timer timeout. It really very short. 0.1 is probably fine. Dot timeout. Dot connect. We can also do like a countdown, right? I've never done a delta countdown. Should I try? People talk about how great they are, and I never ever bothered with them. I don't even know how. I've literally never done one before. Delta timer. I don't even know much about Delta, to be honest. Oh yeah, it's really... what does even Delta look like, right? Like, it's just a number of frames, right? Start frame, and then like the end frame, we just wait like 2 frames. Like, can you do that? I don't even know how... I'm not even going to bother looking up like start frame. Is like a float. I'm not going to look up tutorials. I'm just going to guess based on what I know about them. Start frame. And then end frame. I didn't know if I need a variable for that, but like we can just go. How can I get the start frame? Okay, maybe I do need to, maybe I do need to look up a tutorial. My understanding delta is just a conversion to seconds. Yeah. Like you can, like I almost entirely use timers because it's the same thing and it's a lot simpler. But like I've never used a delta timer. What I'm interested in using delta timers here is because then I don't need to set up a signal. And signals are a little bit funky with state machines because you need to do, you need to make sure that you're checking that you're still in the state before you like accept the signal callback. And it's kind of messy and I don't like it. And I'd like to avoid it where possible. But I don't even know how to do a delta timer, so which is kind of funny. Time period, 0.5 seconds, time 0, time plus equals delta. If time is greater than period. Oh, okay. So it really is that, like, if I just go timeout, right? And it's set to like 0.1, and then time is equal, has to be a float, is equal to 0, and then I start counting up time. So time equals plus equals delta. And then I can go if time is greater than timeout, greater than or equal to, then I will set check jump to true, right? And then we can go check if, check floor, and check jump. Well, right? Then we can emit to idle. And that should work. I'm not super confident. Print author notes. I just want to print out time, since this is my first time doing this. And I kind of want to investigate what these other printouts are. Yeah, it's jump gravity. So that's getting printed every time I start the game. Okay, well that worked. But you need to reset those. So what we need to do, 0.01. Yeah, okay, sweet as. And so basically we need to utilize the exit function. So there is an exit function. I think you can do timer plus equals 1 times delta, with the 1 being the number it should be in each second. Ah, okay. That is good to know. I don't need that for this because it is really just a very short amount of time that I need to check for. I can even make this shorter, I think, but I do need to create exit. I don't think that. So this needs to go, time needs to be set to equal to 0, and check jump needs to be set to false for this to work again the next time around. I'd say we're in happy days. What is the first one? 0.01. This really could be 0.2, 0.02, I would say. Right? Like, it's 1 frame, I would say. Yeah, 1 frame is all I need. Cool. I might make a note there. Wait. 1 frame before checking the ground to give us enough time to leave the ground. Classic. Maybe that's not the best place for that note. I don't know. Whatever. You get what I'm trying to say. Trying to remind myself what I'm doing here. Okay, jump. No, do I want to fall? Do I want a fall state? Do we think the fall state is necessary? State machine. We got the jump. I wanted to work on the camera as well because I think for a third-person shooter, we're gonna need a good camera, right? Should I rename this camera system? The spring arm, we can add a script to it, right? We've got states, we've got player, we've got a bunch of scripts. This should be in states. Movement state machine, player, I think that's okay. I'll need to create a new folder, I think, for the camera system. Camera system. Right. I don't anticipate this to be too much work, but famous last words. Last time I made a third-person camera, I went balls to the walls. It was like 5 scripts and like a bunch of different nodes and everything. This one, I'm not going to do as much. Basically, we want to rotate it and we want to be able to zoom in and zoom out. And that should be pretty easy being a spring arm 3D because we have an inbuilt function for this being the spring length. And as we like increase and decrease that, it should increase and decrease the thingo of the camera, right? So we can do that with the scroll wheel or whatever. And actually, do we even want that for like a third-person shooters? Don't you normally have zoom like that? So maybe we'll leave that out. That's more of like an RPG thing. But yeah, we do want to be able to rotate the camera. We probably rotate the player actually, and then the camera goes up and down, right? So realistically, I just need to take some of my rotation script from my other project because I really like my other project. And go from there. It's big. A big script, this one. That's why you get a state machine. Let's update camera rotation. Get rotation. Wait, no, that's not it. Input mouse mode. Okay, so here we go. Set velocity. Just put it down here, that's fine. Is the mouse the mouse isn't even captured, so we need all of this. You could shorten the spring arm when the player does ADS. Yes, I will need to do that. When they ADS, you need to like align the camera to the where you're aiming. I've seen people do that. Okay, so we've got some things. The function does not exist. This, I think, is good code, so I will reuse it rather than writing it again from scratch, although I do need to rename all these variables because look at the way they've been written. What the heck? Movement. Lowercase, hello. Okay, let's go through this and clean it up. So it's like, we don't have a camera, we can't do that. We will in a second. We have a camera system. Event relative. I'm missing some stuff, eh? Mouse sensitivity, mouse movement. Sorry, what? Movement? Not declared? Oh, right, yeah. Camera does not exist. We're going to replace that with the camera system. Easy peasy. And now mouse sensitivity has no, mouse event has no static type, and it is a float, I think. Oh, it must be a vector too. Okay. No static type here. This is definitely a float. I've set up all my projects now to force me to use static typing. New projects, always use static typing. It is the way. Okay, so this should allow us to move our camera. So basically what this does is it rotates the body on the x-axis, right? On the y-axis, which is what we want. But the mouse, the camera system will rotate on the x-axis, right? Which is what we want. We don't want to rotate the player. So in theory, it should give us what we want. It's could not resolve superclass in air. Why not? Superclass inheritance in air? What the heck? What's that got to do with anything? Is it because I moved it? In air? Extends? Motion? Deleted for some reason? Okay. Okay, well it does work, but the mouse is not captured. Okay, here we go. Yeah, nice, nice, nice. I need to go play a third-person shooter to see if like this feels any good. It feels okay to me. Like it's not super polished, but it works fine, right? We probably need to like improve on the clipping. Like this is where obviously you don't want to be getting up your player's ass. But yeah, we'll have to look at the height. I would say we could probably get higher, right? But we want to not be able to get that low. So that is to do with the clamping here. We've got a rotation negative 1.1, and I would change this to 1.5. These are radians, so 1.5 is like exactly halfway. So this should be able to go right to the top, and then we'll have, okay, that's still way too much. Let's make it 0.5. That seems like too little, but we'll go with that. Okay. Now, should we offset it? You know, because like right now it's right behind the player, which is kind of annoying if you're trying to aim, right? So it should be to the left, right? Like he should be here. Something like that. And maybe bring it closer, I think. Like let's make this 5. Let's move it a little bit further out, make it 2. And then should we? Yeah, we should rotate around the player. The player rotates. We don't rotate around the center. I'm gonna have to look at some reference material to work out if that's the right way to do it, like what people expect versus, because that feels kind of weird to me. Just like, what was the last third-person shooter I played? I suppose it was PUBG, which was a long time ago. What's like a really... Oh shit, I closed it. So many other projects open. Close some stuff out while I'm here. What's like a really popular third-person shooter that I need to try to like see if that looks right? Date machine. What have I got? Have I got anything installed? Bioshock, Half-Life, System Shock, Star Wars Battlefront 2, 2005 comes to mind. Yeah, we could check that out. Seems like it would be easy for me to acquire, that's for sure. Oh, they remade it. Nice. 2005. $10 US. God damn. I might need to download or acquire this somehow. Yeah, I gotta check some out because I don't know. What have I got in my Steam library? Most third-person games I play are like RPGs. Like I remember last one I played was Elden Ring, right? Like, let's see if I've got tags here. Enter a tag. Third-person shooter. Tick the box. I think it's okay to show this on screen. I've got Alan Wake. Yeah, it's kind of a third-person shooter. Dead Space 2000, the original Dead Space, not the remastered. Fallout 4 is not. Last of Us, right? That's really big. Max Payne. I could probably install that and test it. It's only 700 megabytes. It's a bit outdated though. Quantum Break. Has anyone played Quantum Break? That was such a good game. I don't know about that one. And then Tomb Raider is also like really big. Warframe probably. I should probably, because this one obviously it's super popular. Max Payne. I don't think I could download on stream because like Australian internet. But I might check out some of these ones that I already have. I've also got Mass Effect. Like Mass Effect is goated. So that's probably worth checking out as well. Mass Effect is seriously one of my favorite games. Let's check out. I should have a Mass Effect 2. Probably. I also have Mass Effect 3, but it was on like the Origin launcher. I don't think I have that installed. Oh god. EA games. Yeah, Mass Effect 2 probably will be the... Yeah, I might use that as my reference project. Because I've got it, and also it's one of my favoritist games. Most favorite games. I speak English, I promise. Alright, let's do a little bit of zooming. We'll need to do like an ADS. So what we can do is we'll have an input for ADS, right? It's a filter. We'll worry about the movement stuff later because I don't know, and I think it does need to be changed. I think it should rotate around the center of what you're like, rotate the center of the camera and have the player rotate, like move with it. I don't know, like we'll figure it out. But because it feels wrong the way it is. Yeah. Keyboard, mouse. The other option, I guess, is to make it above the player, but we'll see. Mouse buttons. right click, right mouse button. Okay. So I'm thinking this all needs to happen on the same script. Would it be better if I moved all this camera stuff to the camera system? The only issue is we need to rotate the player. But actually, we're saying we don't necessarily want to do that, right? We kind of want to rotate everything around the camera system. Makes me think maybe the camera system could be in the center of the world, or yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about that. I do want this all to be on the camera system. I was just toying with the idea of making this the scene route and having everything run off that. I don't think that would work very well though. We kind of want the character body to be the parent of everything. Yeah, but what we can do is we can take all this stuff, we can move it down to the camera, and we can create an export for the player and rotate that. It will work. Take all of this stuff except for the state label. Right? And now, what we can do, export var, character, and it's a character body, right? And then here we'll set it to be the player. And then now we can, wherever we're doing the transform.basis, we just swap everything. So we go character dot rotate object, character dot rotate object local, and then all of these ones we don't need to do anymore. So like we can get rid of this spring arm system and just like change it to transform basis, right? Camera system rotate object, right? Camera rotation is just another variable. So let's just make sure it's still working. Still working. Okay. Right. So now that we've got it all in the single script, we can start to actually play around with this. So what I want to do is when we ADS, we essentially need to move into a like separate position. We don't need a state machine or anything for this. We can just do this with a variable for now. So we can go like is ADS, and it's a bool and it's just equal to false. Right. And essentially we can say if is ADS, then return. Right. So when we're in ADS, we can't do this camera look. We'll do a different one. Right. And so we'll force the camera into a position. Jova, hello, how are you? Welcome to the stream. Where's my OBS? Welcome. So yeah, we'll force the camera into a fixed position and only allow them to like do like a certain amount of rotation. I don't know. That's good. I'm glad to hear that. What would we do? I guess we're gonna rotate it to like, yeah, it's gonna change the way it looks. I would say what's gonna change is the Y or the X. Rotate it in the Y. We'll make that be like on the spring arm rather than the character or something like that. I don't know. We're about to figure it out. I know what it looks like in my head, but what it looks like in reality is I'm not too sure. Basically what we want to do is bring the camera in line with wherever we're like, say the gun was sort of like at the midpoint. We probably want to bring the in closer, move it up, and then rotate it down, right? So that it's like in line, because from what I've read, this kind of position is a lot better for like doing ray casting That's the main reason why people do it. So knowing where to go is kind of a bit of a challenge. What I think would work best is we could have a point, like a position on the player that we have, like, so we can set up like a ADS point. So we can just set up a marker. I like to use these a lot. It's really good for creating a location and tracking that, and it's going to inherit all the transforms, so you don't have to worry about counting for that. So you can just say like, this is the ADS point, and basically what you can say is go, your camera system needs to move to that, and then we can have the original point, we can store that in code because it's a little bit easier. Right? So this is the start point, and then you can have like the end point, which is going to be like, let's make these look a little bit rounder. Let's make it like my numpad's not working. 0.5. That's probably a little bit too close. Yeah, okay, we'll go back to 0.7 and 0.5, right? And so like that's the ADS point. And then we can also like even include the rotation in that. And we can just take the transform of this and just set it to the other object. Which would be, and it's just for reference. I mean, we could really even just use that one time and then just not do it again. So what kind of rotation did we want? We wanted a much lower rotation. Are you working on a generic FPS controller? Third person controller. Just started working on it. So I guess I'm going to go with like probably -5. Let's go with that. Why is it like rotated on the Y? It should be 0. Oh, well, that looks weird. Is there rotation? Why does it look like that? I don't know. Anyway, okay, so we have got the camera system. That's neat. Both are a pain. I'd imagine I've only done first person. I've done first person, and now I'm going to do like a third person tutorial, I guess. I'm probably not going to. I might use it for my project. Like maybe I can make it so that you can switch between first person and third person. And the weapon system will be the same. So like theoretically, like why not like have both systems on the player? It's possible. Anyway. So the ADS point, right? We're going to go with rotation. What did I say? -7 or something like that. -5, I think I said. Right, so that can just be our reference point. So in our script, we can just copy that. And then we can say let's just make this a little bit more readable. Also on the ready, because I keep forgetting to do this, we're going to say mouse mode captured. How much more complicated third person is to first person? Yeah, for real. Like I was originally, when I was first making projects in Godot, when I first switched to 3D, I wanted to do like a sort of adventure game in 3D, but then I realized that it was actually like a ton of work, and I just switched to making FPS games. Because like, you don't have to animate anything if it's first person. You can just make the gun float in the air. No one cares. Like, it's so much better. You can just make a pill game with a gun that floats. This project will just be like very basic. There won't be any animation. That would be way too hard. And I probably wouldn't even know how to do it in a really good way. There was a guy that did like an entire third person shooter series. I don't know if he's updated it for Godot 4, but I remember when I was first learning how to like make stuff, there was a guy doing Godot third person shooter, third person controller. Was it this guy? Was it this guy? Johnny? Johnny?
Hey guys, this is Johnny, and in this tutorial I'm going to create a basic third-person controller using Godot 4. You may have come across my previous series, which was created using Godot 3.
Oh yeah, okay, so this is the guy. He updated it. That's awesome. So there's already someone out there that's made something like this. I'm not the first, and he's actually really good. He deserves more subscribers than me.
With the major changes in Godot 4, a lot of you have been asking to update the demo to the latest version. But I decided to create it from the ground up with a bit more cleaner approach with some scalability in mind.
Yeah, I think that's
so without further ado, let's get started. So here's an overview of this demo. The player will have these three components that'll have their...
Yeah, so his is more like to do with the player. Does he ever... Is there an anime? Is there a playlist? Does he ever... Yeah, so it's not really like FP... Like, there's no shooting. Mine's going to have shooting. That'll be the differentiator in terms of like videos. I feel like the original one, yeah, he did hack and slash 2 months ago. Intro promo, so he posted that 5 months ago. I feel like the other one did have shooting, yeah? Do you guys hear that noise? Don't worry, it's my house. Yeah, so he did do third person shooting for the Godot 3. And it's like way more in depth than I'm willing to go to, right? I even did the radial menu. Look at that. I'm just copying other people at the end of the day, aren't I? Yeah, he deserves way more subscribers. Like, I don't know. This is a really good shit. Like, I remember watching this being blown away by the level of it. Was it for Godot 2? It was for Godot 3. It was 3 years ago. So that was when we all started. Yeah. Anyway, so it's going to be kind of like that. But his is very good. Mine won't cover the animation side of things because I just don't have it in me. I don't have that animation dog in me. Okay. So, right. So we were doing checking for if input is mouse motion. Right, so maybe rather than going here saying return, we can go if is ADS, we're going to do ADS, else we're going to do camera look, right? So we'll set up like an ADS camera look function and we'll pass in the same data. So now I just need to make that function. Theoretically, should work in theory, as I like to say. It's all just an idea at the moment. That's part of the fun, isn't it? You don't really know how it's going to look until you've done it. Returns void. We'll just have that pass for now. Okay. Happy days. And then the last thing I'm going to do is, and this is where I'm actually going to go, if event is action pressed ADS, then we're going to enter ADS, right? And this is, we'll do a tween, right? So func enter ADS, it's going to return a void. And we'll basically get, we can just go get tree dot create tween dot, actually, okay, so I need to go tween, which is a tween, is equal to get tree create tween. Happy days. And then we can go over end point is going to be equal to the ADS point dot position, right? Actually transform, because we're going to use both. Endpoint has no static type. It's mad at me. So transform 3D. Okay. And the start point, I don't think we need that anymore. That's old school. Don't need that. So then we can just go tween dot interpolate. No. Wait, how's it? What? Create tween dot property, right? Tween property? Yeah, that's what it's called. Object is self. Property is transform. Right? And then the final variant is the endpoint. And the duration is like 0.1 second or something like that. We'll make it quick for now. 0.2 seconds. And then the starting point, I will create a variable called ADS start point. It's going to be a transform as well. Yeah, well I actually don't think this will look good now that I'm starting to think about it, because it's going to return it to the starting point. It's going to reset the rotation, which is not going to look good, but we'll roll with it for now. So then we can go ADS start point equals transform. Right. And enter ADS, and then we can go exit ADS. We probably don't want to get the transform. We probably just want to do the rotation and the position. And maybe not even the rotation on the way back. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how this feels. I don't think it's going to be good, but we'll roll with it for now. Exit ADS, void, and it's literally the same thing. But instead of being the end point, it's going to be the start point, ADS start point. Right. Okay. So we can go if action is pressed, and then we can go if event dot is action released ADS, and we can call that exit ADS. Yeah, cool. Okay, so it should work. Probably isn't going to feel very good, but we'll go with it for now. Okay. I mean, it's not horrible, to be honest. Okay, so here's the thing that's not good. So we've got like the aim down sights, whatever that is, and then we've got but the mouse is not getting updated. And this is a problem with the camera look function. Basically, it tracks an integer, which we really should be keeping track of. So I don't know, but we're not updating the rotation. So that's the problem, right? So like if we go into ADS, and the minute I start rotating, it snaps back out of it. So that really shouldn't happen. You know what I'm not doing? When we enter ADS, we should be setting ADS is ADS to true. Right. That makes sense. That explains that. And then when we exit it, we'll set it to false. So now we know we're in ADS. So now we can no longer rotate the camera, but when we exit out, like things aren't weird. I don't think. They're not great. Still pretty bad, to be honest. So I'll need to probably not update that number, right? Where is that number? Probably have separate ones for each one. I don't know if that'll make it any better. I know it'll work for this, because then we won't be updating it. It just picks up from where it starts off, so it still feels kind of weird. I guess it's like if I was looking up, yeah, it doesn't reset. Okay, so let's. I mean, honestly, you could reset it to 0 because it starts there, right? Like you could set the mouse event to 0 because you're changing it. You want it to start again. So, well, we don't track it. Wait, we do track it. We've got event.relative. Hang on a second. Camera rotation. This is what we track it with. So camera rotation gets reset, I would say. So on exit ADS, we just reset camera rotation because it's going back to the start point. Equals vector 2.0. And I actually don't hate that it does go back to 0. Like if you're aiming here and then you suddenly decide to ADS, oof, that didn't feel good. I don't like that at all. What's it doing? I guess it didn't start at 0. Interesting. What does it do? Oh, it snaps at the start as well. It snaps to 0, 0 at the start. Okay. We can fix that by knowing the radians at the start point. Right? So camera rotation starts at 0, 0, which is great when you're doing an FPS because you want it to be. And it never ever matters because you're always in the center. Makes you wonder, makes you wonder if this is the right way to be doing it. This works great for FPS, but interesting. So what I think needs to happen is we need to know what our starting point is and set the camera look to be that. Now this is in radians, so everything is fine to, if we just set the X, because I'm pretty sure it starts at 0 for the Y, so that's fine. Like there's no issues there, but it's the X that's the issue. So we can set camera rotation X to be equal to rotation.Y, and it should be fine. Camera rotation dot X to be equal to rotation dot Y. Oh, that's wrong. Camera dot it's back to front. Y dot X. Hey, Mr. Forgettable, how you feeling, dude? Last time we spoke that you weren't feeling too great. You doing better? Okay. Yeah. Negative. Invert it. That's good. Good to hear. Okay, great. Yeah, that worked perfectly. Busy. Yeah, me too, actually. Actually, you know what? Like, audit's finished at work and, like, things are starting to feel pretty good. Like, this week has been, like, quiet, which I needed. I don't have anyone sending me emails. Uni is trolling me. When are they not, bro? Okay, so Blood Mage, hey, welcome to the stream. What? So now I just need to probably just, I mean, I'm setting it to be this I'm trying to think, because then I go vector 2.0. I could hard code it. It's an option. Or I could create a variable. But camera start point is vector 2, right? And then camera start point equals camera rotation. then at the end here, rather than setting it to vector 2, we can set it to camera start point. And then that way, when we come here and when we come back, it's not quite right, is it? Do I have kids? No. This doesn't work. Yeah. That's right. It's really just the Y. Camera rotation dot Y equals camera start point. Wait, hang on a second. That... Yay? Nah, yeah, not my kind of thing, eh? Can't be having kids if you spend all your time on your computer making games. I mean, that's not true. You totally can. Camera rotation Y dot Y. Do we ignore the X? That felt pretty good. Daddy Shaft is not actually a daddy. It's still weird because, like, it's weird for people to say that to others, I think. Okay, I think it's working pretty good now. It's way less janky than it was. Like, it doesn't jitter around and stuff. Claude Hopper, welcome back. I would say the only thing that I don't like about it is that this reset is really slow. And so that it doesn't, like, there's enough time to sort of like get weird with it. I would say that you might want it to even be faster than that. And then I don't know, like, I'm going to have to do some tests. I need to like look at some references to see if that's even something you want. Gonna drop your mom off somewhere? Okay, have fun. Enjoy the drive. Okay, so that sort of works. I'm not a huge fan of having that, like, in terms of like, as like a tutorial. Like, I don't know if that's like the best. Like, it's fine for like a particular project, but this is kind of jank. This is fine. I like this because you can change it. The one thing that I'm not doing is setting the spring length. So I can shorten the spring length, I think. So I can shorten that to like 2 and then 5. So I'm going to need 2. So basically, you know what would be good? If we have some exports, right? Export var, like normal. Actually, ADS zoom. What does void do? Oh yeah, I can answer that question. This is an int and it's going to be equal to 2. Okay, so void for your functions. Basically, static typing has always been a thing in Godot, but it's become very popular since Godot 4 when it became really easy to implement. So you can, in your editor settings, you can go and you can, if you just type here, you can go for completion, add type hints, and you can tick that to be on. I recommend you do. And what that'll do is every time you type in func ready, you'll see this void. And what that means is it doesn't return anything. So you see at the bottom of this, there is no return. But if I made a function that returns something, like if I made a function that just said get ADS, right? And it would return a bool, then it would get mad at me because it wants to know ADSing, let's just make it like that. Bool equals is ADS, and then return ADS is ADSing, like that. Okay, so that's like a really basic function to sort of show you what it does. So when you see void, you don't have to have this keyword return at the end of your function because it doesn't return anything. But if it does return something, this, instead of saying void, we'll say bool, we'll say vector2, we'll say transform, basis, whatever it is that you're returning, and you'll need to actually type return ADSing. So if I took this away, Godot is not going to get mad, right? It's fine. Well, actually it is because I set it up to do that, right? Under project settings, take that back, type, you can go debug untyped declarations. By default, it's set up to be as ignore, right? And if I go close, it's going to leave me alone about this error, I think. I might need to reload the project. I don't know. Yeah, see, it's happy now, right? And this function can exist without ever realizing that it does need to return something. So you can run into problems where you expect something to be returned and it never is. And so like typing in Godot is optional. It's not going to get mad if I do put this in. That explains the warnings. It's by default, it's ignore. I've set mine up to be error because I'm trying to get into the habit of using it. It's technically faster because Godot doesn't need to check as much stuff, right? So it is worth getting into the habit of doing. I think it makes it for much more readable code. You get better completion because Godot knows what you need to be typing. The parameter movement is, oh yeah, we'll get to that. So yeah, I think it is better, if that makes sense. Okay, so we can also tween. We're exiting ADS, we're entering ADS. Tween property, and we're going to need to set this up as tween parallel. Parallel is true. Too many arguments. Oh, maybe I just need to type parallel. Anyway, tween property, self, and what's it called? Spring length. Final variant is I just made that variable before we got distracted. ADS zoom. Right, and the speed is 0.2 as well, and we can just copy, and we'll also need to set that up as parallel 0.1, and it will be, I can create a hidden variable here called zoom start point. Oh, I really got to look at the name of these. Int zoom start equals spring length, right? Maybe I should just make it exactly starting spring length, so we know exactly what it is. Length. Length. I know how to speak English. I promise. Okay, now we've got that variable on the exit. We can go to that, right? So we should zoom a little bit too now. So that did not go in parallel. Tween dot parallel. I forget how to do this. Tween parallel makes the next tweener run parallel. Create tween property. Tween dot parallel tween property. Okay. For example, you can, by using set parallel, tween set parallel. That's the function I wanted to call. Okay, thank you. Tweener added right before this method will also be part of the parallel step. Realistically, I call this here. Okay. Probably a little bit too much zoom, if I had to say anything. Just make it 3. Better. Now we just need to set up like the rotation. Right? And then probably, it's funny, like do this and then like check to see if other games do similar stuff. So that you're not like creating something that doesn't exist and no one wants. Okay, so we've got ADS camera look, which is going to be pretty similar to camera look, except we are going to rotate around. That'll be a challenge. The challenge of rotating around like the center point of the camera, that's what you really want to do, I think, for like an ADS. How we do that is kind of a bit of a challenge because we're rotating the player, but we're not in the center point. So like, we might have to do some math. I think I need to check some reference before I go any further, right? Because that's like a lot of work. Otherwise, I'm going to end up like putting in effort. Let's just do something simple for now, and then like just so that we've got something going, and then we'll worry about it later. I don't want to like go too much into it. So ADS camera look is going to be pretty similar, but basically the only thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to try this. Instead of rotating the character, I'm going to rotate the object local. Right? This will need to be reset. It's a little bit weird. I don't think that works, right? Like, because it's so weird. It does reset okay. Because obviously I'm doing transforms and stuff, but I don't like that. Is it literally just the same function? Like, do we just like get rid of this and we call it, the only reason we split it up is so that we can have separate like calculations for mouse sensitivity? Do we even need this? Right? Like we probably need to set up some kind of like this is funky now. Maybe we don't do rotation. Maybe that's the answer that I'm looking for. Maybe we just don't do rotation because like it's kind of weird. Like if you're aiming down and then all of a sudden you're not, that's not like a very pleasant experience, right? So rather than being a transform, this can be a position. What is a position? It's just a vector 3. And now everything's mad. It's just a position. And this is just a position. And this is just a vector 3. And this is the position. Whoa, what did I do there? And then I won't need to worry about like resetting the rotation because the rotation is not going to factor into it. That's way better. I'm good with that. I don't think I'll need this. And I don't think I'll need to worry about this. I'll still keep the variable around for now. Probably needs to be quicker. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to... Yeah, it should be okay actually, because from what I've read, the reason that you do this anyway is because it makes it way easier to do the hit scan. And like if you're aligned with where the center point of the gun is, which like in theory would be like around where the center point of the camera is right now, like it should be okay. Okay, so let's look at the tweening here because it's kind of a bit funky. This can go, but what we want to do is tween dot set trans. Hey Ozair, how are ya? Tween dot set trans probably not elastic, that would be gross. Expo I think probably would work well. By the way, how did you do the YouTube chat in the video being in the editor? Oh, that's a visual trick. It's just a layout. It just covers up like the screen. It's made to look like Godot, but it's not real. And then, so if I, hang on a second, if I just go desktop, not desktop, no camera, the chat's actually here as well. I just use it to like separate the screen and also I could read it. But yeah, it's literally just a layout. It's sneaky. People said that I should do it for real, like make it so it is actually a part of Godot, but it's too much effort. Yeah, I like the way it looks. I've been experimenting for a while. I think this is probably the best I can get it because that way you guys can see like everything that I'm doing on screen and my face doesn't cover up some part of the program. So that works best. I don't know how it would go for making shorts, but I haven't made any of those for a long time, so. The only thing for me to remember is to like pay attention to the split, because if I pull something up full screen and it's covered by like my face in the chat, then it gets weird. So like even when I run the game, like you guys are missing some of it, not much, just some. Like sometimes it matters, but most of the time it doesn't. I really don't like that transition, to be honest. What's going on here? It seems to be rising up. Yes, I did do it. I did make it do that. It's a bit quick. Maybe we tone it down a bit. I don't know. I'll have to play around with it. Do we do an ease? We probably need an ease out. Set ease. Ease out. I reckon is the way to go. Oh, that feels way better. And then the only thing that I would really change is like whether or not you can move and how fast you can move. So we could potentially set up a state for like ADS so that we can have like a sub state for that. So like certain actions are restricted. But we'll look at that probably later. It's still a bit like funky. Oh, we can fuck with it by like clicking it a lot. Now it's stuck. It's unstuck now. What am I doing here? I probably need to do if action pressed ADS and is ADS, right? Sorry, and not? Is that how it works? And not ADS? I always get confused with the not. And is ADS. Right, so we can't like mess with the clicking. Much better. Still doesn't work because... Okay, so something that I'm doing here that's like not that good. And I even made in my own tutorial on ADS tween, on tweens, I said, you probably need to do this. You should do this. And here I am not doing it. So now look at get cranky at me. I don't need to type it anymore. Let's change all of these. What did Godot? It broke the projectiles and it broke the shader. So we fixed that, and it really wasn't as painful. There's a couple of other bugs in my FPS template that I probably need to get to before the end of the week. But those were the two major ones. Okay. So I don't like that this is below the tween stuff. I'll move this up. Right. Now, what I can do is I can say if ADS tween, ADS tween.kill, and it'll stop the tween that's currently running. And then hopefully that'll stop like the weirdness. I'll have to look into it if not. I could probably do it with an animation player. Let's spam it. Spam that button. Feels pretty good. It's working. And that is how you do tweens properly, rather than just not checking to see if they exist or not. And now we can get some like seriously shaky shit going, but I guess what you really want to do is like check to see if it's completed, but whatever. I don't know. That's more of a personal choice. Okay, so now we have like an aim down sight. I'm not super stoked with it. I think I'm gonna need to check like some. I'm gonna need to check some reference to see like if that's normal, and then go from there. But you know, it's not bad. It's a good starting off point. This script is pretty chunky. Like that's an entire. I need to make something a little bit better, eh? Okay, so we've got the guy, he can run and jump. What else would you expect it to be able to do? Like in terms of a state machine, this is like fairly limiting. Crouch, probably. We could set up a crouch state. A couple of other crouch, prone. Right? Like we could make it kind of survivally if we wanted to. I'm gonna need to go play PUBG, aren't I? Really hate that game. Well, I don't hate it, but it's the only one that I know off the top of my head that plays like what I'm trying to make it play like. Except for the aim down sights. I don't think it does that. We'll see. I used to play so much PUBG and it like would send my heart rate through the roof. So much adrenaline. How about a jetpack? Yeah, I mean, that's right. Like, yeah, we could set up some cool stuff like that. There's no reason why we can't have like a jump plus a boost, like a state that you can only enter into if you're like in the jump, right? Like that's really straightforward, realistically. We could create a node. We could call it like, should we call it boost? We'll keep it simple. It inherits a state. Actually, it inherits in air, right? That's how it works, boost. This needs to be saved in the states folder. Create. Get rid of these. Okay, so when we're in air, right, we can say, we want, sorry, this is really not very readable. We can go, we go to the on ground and we'll just copy, right? Obviously we're not going to go jump, but if action is jumped, we can boost, right? Because that's what you do. You press jump and then you can boost, right? And then we can emulate a boost in the boost, I guess. So we have like a boost amount. And how much? I don't know what's good. Like 50? We'll roll with that. I don't know. We're about to find out. Forgot the little colon there, boost 50. So what do we need to do? We need, we got the update function. Let's just take the jump. It's going to be really similar to this, so I'm going to just take that. In fact, it's also, we're going to be wanting to check floor, emit idle. That almost could go. Nah, we'll keep it in the update. It's okay. I was going to say it could go in the in-air class. In-air. If check floor and check jump. We don't need to worry about check jump. We can just check floor because we're already in the air. If we've got to this, we don't need this, but we will need to be going basically. We're going to need to set up a fall state as well. Sorry, I just blew straight into the mic. Sorry, what's the project again? It is a third-person shooter template that I'm going to try to make a tutorial series on. So sneak peek. Boost amount minus equals delta. Right, we're just going to be subtracting that, and once it reaches 0, we will exit out. Right. Shooter? Yes, it will be a third-person shooter. Yeah. There's no shooting yet, but there will be. I'll add that last because it's easy. It'll be the same as the previous. Well, it won't be the same. It'll be like an updated version. So, but yeah. Same, but different. It'll need different things because like you will need to update the meshes and I'm going to do things a little differently, but we'll worry about that when I get to it. Okay. So finish. Emit. Okay, check floor. Yeah, for sure. If we hit the floor while we're boosting, that would be possible. Theoretically, yeah, I guess. No, actually, I don't know if I want to do that. I'm just going to comment that out. So we've got direction, we've got gravity. We're not going to want to be doing gravity. We just want direction, velocity, right? And then we've even going to want to be adding, or maybe we do want gravity, but we're also like adding to the upwards velocity as well. I don't know. Because if we're not calculating gravity, we're like just going to be, I don't know. Anyway, we'll see. We'll see how this behaves. I've never done a booster before, so funk. Boost. Might as well just call it that. And we go like this. Void. Pass. I also need to set like a max boost speed. I don't even know what it's going to be. I'm actually not sure what's a good number. 10. I don't even know what my jump speed is at the moment. There should be like a float. Equals 10.0. What is my jump? Hang on a second. Because I calculated it all, right? Jump velocity. I don't actually know what my jump velocity is. It's 4. Okay, so testing jetpacks is a risky business. Yeah. Could you imagine the guys that do that? That's crazy. They've got some serious balls. Okay, so we don't want this to be as fast as jump, so I'm just going to go 2. But it is fun. Yeah, it probably is, yeah. So this is actually going to be pretty similar to the velocity X move towards speed, right? Like this is the exact thing that I want. So I'm just going to copy it because I'm a lazy son of a bitch. Okay, so we'll go X velocity Y dot move towards velocity Y. And we're going to, rather than obviously direction times speed, we're just going to go max boost speed. We already know what that is. And I've got a resource called movement starts acceleration and delta. We can pass that on. Delta as a float. Right, so I have a resource. One of the reasons I have a resource, not because I'm resource brained, I am kind of resource brained when it comes to Godot, but when it comes to like movement state machines, you have no way of like manipulating the base variables on every single script unless you went to the motion script, which is kind of like annoying, right? So rather than doing that, I've just got a movement stats.tres, which is a little bit like better in my opinion. Just like I can click that, I can open it up, and I've got like acceleration is like, it's 10,000. It's really fast because I'm not that interested in waiting around. So if I'm going to do like a boost, we can go export var boost. I mean, realistically, does this need to be here? We can put it in the boost. Never mind, I changed my mind. We don't need that. We just go var boost acceleration. Is a float. I don't think I spelled acceleration right there. This will be much slower. The other one's 10,000. I might make this 100. I just want to see. So not readable. Okay. So we've got the boost acceleration. No, we just times that by that. We want boost acceleration instead of movement stats acceleration. Right, so rather than calculating gravity, we're going to be boosting. And we pass in delta. And then what we can do is we can check the input here. We can go func input. It's the exact same. It's state input. I always forget, and for some reason Godot doesn't like to remind me what it's called. We can say if event dot is action pressed jump, then we want to do finished dot emit, and we're going to need to create a fall state because we don't want to go back into jump, because obviously we'll jump and that's not really what we want to do. Okay, so and then right, so the other thing we want to do is say if boost amount is less than or equal to 0, then we want to finish emit full as well. Right, so then we'll run out. Okay. I'm going to print the boost while I'm here because I have no way to track it at the moment to make sure it's working. And so if we exit this way, this is the complicated part, right? Like, so if we are jumping, we want to make sure that this boost amount is not getting refreshed when we release the key, right? So if we create an exit function and we reset boost to be 50, then what's the point? You'll be able to boost indefinitely. But the way this works right now, this number will be 0 the next time you enter back in. So what we need to do is probably, I will still do like an exit function because we can do this in the exit function, right? How the character model would look like, I don't know. It'll be a pill because I'm lazy as heck. And I don't like doing animations. Exit, we can say, we can do the exact same check. If boost amount is less than or equal to 0, then we need to reset it to 50. No. How are we going to get this back up? It's when you hit the ground, right? I don't know how I'm going to do that actually. That's an interesting problem. How are we going to do that? I could emit a signal. Recharge timer. That's an option. it's still not going to be that good because essentially it's going to be tracked in the state and not in the player character, which means I can't actually have a timer. We can do it in the enter. Oh, no. What we're going to need to do is we're going to need to create a static variable. Probably in air. We want to so I'm just trying to think like with the flow of the I'll try to sort of run you guys what's going through my head is if we are in jump, right, and then we go into boost, that's fine, we want it to be, but when we hit the ground we want to set the boost to be back to 50, right? We could set it to be a static variable in the air function. And on fall, when we exit fall, so basically if we have a fall state, when we exit the fall state, we can set boost back to 50. So we can track boost as a static variable in the in-air class. And that means jump, boost, and fall will all have the same variable, right? Static var boost. It's going to get mad because obviously boost has its own. Oh no, it's the function that it's mad at. Go to in-air, boost amount. It's still going to get mad because obviously that's here, and I just comment that out for a second. Right, so we can deplete that. It's going to be shared between all of them, and if I create a fall state, when we get to the fall, then we will reset. So node, call it fall, add the script. It inherits in air, and it's going to be saved in the states. Okay. We will create that. IT or there. We can do it when we enter. No, okay. No new ones. Sorry, I just read out the same chat. So anyway, let's do it. Boost acceleration, max boost speed. In the fall state, we really just need everything that's happening in the jump state, but not, right? Nice. Whether you fall on a body or a ground, you get boost back. Yeah, you'll see. Basically, here I'm going check floor. We won't need to do that for jump anymore because we're just going to check if the velocity is falling, right? But we do still want to check. So we'll take all of this. This is really all we need. Before we just want the character to fall and still be able to move. We can even take out the direction, or we could minimize the direction. I don't know, whatever. Right now, you can still move around just like if you were on the ground, which is more platformery. We might not. We'll dampen the direction. We could probably halve it. If we just halve direction, it'll probably work as intended. We'll see. Anyway, that's not the point. Basically, the point is if we're in air, we want to check floor and then emit for idle, right? We don't need to check jump. Falling in terror animation. What? Falling in terror animation? What does that mean? Right, and then in the exit, we go void, and then we'll go boost amount is equal to 50. We should probably have like another variable to like know what that should be. So we can go to in-air, and we can create a variable called max boost equal to 50. Has no static type, meaning treated as error. Oh, that's what's wrong. This needs to be a float, right? And same with this. I was like, why is it so mad? Right, so then we go full, and then rather than being 50, we can just go boost amount equals max boost. Right. Check jump equals false. That's fine. We can leave as is. But here we do not want to check the floor. What we want to check is if the velocity is negative, right? So in theory, I'm pretty sure it's negative. So we can go if velocity dot y is less than or equal to 0, then finish dot emit fall. Right. Yes, that totally makes sense. Me does something. Godot, you can't do that. Me, you don't want to do. Godot is really mean sometimes, and it just says no. But if you work hard, then you can make Godot say yes whenever you want it to. Okay. So fall seems to work, right? Happy days. What about boost? Oh, we never exiting. We're never exiting because there's something wrong here. Boost. Okay. Print boost. Boost amount is what I wanted to print. Welcome to orbit. Yeah, we were going up. That felt real good until it didn't exit. Oh, it's just a really big number. That's all it is. Max boost is too big, and then there's also no release. So, this is dumb. This should be released. Bro elevated from the mortal realm. Yeah, literally, he's going. So if action released jump, emit fall, and also max boost way too high. We'll just say that. In air, max boost should be at probably 5, right? Like, that's still quite a lot. And then we're going back down. Yeah, that feels pretty good. Okay, so here's an issue with the fall. I just divided fall by half for the direction, and now it's like slowing down because obviously the speed is influenced by the magnitude of the direction. You can do a Can you do gravitational pull towards an object? Probably not. I mean, you could, but like, I don't know how. Like the planets in Mario, you'd probably do area 2D, area 3D. Mario Galaxy is what you're talking about. The answer is yeah, you probably could. This still feels like too much to me. But so the fall where I just divided by 2, that's no good. Don't do that. Sorry, my eye is really itchy and I really shouldn't scratch it like that. I have like a crazy story about like pushing my eyes. Apparently that's bad for you, and now my retinas look a little bit weird. I can still see. Yeah. So that's pretty much, that's boost. That's actually really fun. I like that. We'll keep that. Honestly, it still feels like way too much. Yeah. Does it really just need to be 1? I don't know. Yeah, that's probably what. So the other thing that I want to test We are indefinitely boosting, so that is not quite right. And that is because in the exit for fall, I just set max boost. What I want to do is check floor. So if check floor, boost equals max boost. Realistically, I do it there. Right? Not where I was doing it before. That's better. Yeah, that works. Yeah, cool. Awesome. Dude, that actually feels really sick. Maybe I just make my game like third-person shooter instead of a first-person shooter, and include this as a feature. I mean, you could do this in first person as well. No reason why we can't have a boost in first person. All right. If you're going to use Delta, why is it called Delta instead of Delta? Because it is. It's just because of this update underscore Delta. Because what I'm doing here, if I go all the way to the top, would you like to work in a game studio? Would I? I mean, if they paid me enough, you know what I'm saying? The thing is, I have really good work-life balance with my current career. My financial accounting teacher just doesn't explain much about anything. They do that. I failed, man. Like, financial accounting is really hard. You have to dedicate a lot of time to self-learning, and then you learn way more on the job. One day, Mr. Forgettable, you will be auditing me. Maybe. I don't know if you want to go into audit. Big Four and all that. But yeah, game studios sounds nice, but like the way they talk about work-life balance, it just doesn't sound like it would be that pleasant. Like right now as it stands, like a team. Oh yeah, like if I could work on something with a team of people, yeah, for sure. I don't know if I'd want to be the leader though. That's the thing. I'm not that keen on driving something forward. I just don't have the time or the energy. So I'd much rather work with someone else that was doing that, and they were just asking things from me, and then I could just like regulate it myself and set my own like pacing rather than having to like project manage people. I don't have it in me. We'll still need to refactoring function in the editor. Oh yeah, Studio Malika, you're 100% right. We do need that. It would be amazing to batch change the name of a variable. 100%. That would be nice. I think last time I did it, refactor, I was like control find and replace. So it's such a nightmare. Alrighty. It's late, boys. I'm going to be jumping off. It's been fun though. We've been doing it. I guess I'll be back on Wednesday. We can keep working on this. I think I've got a fair bit to do before this is going to be. So how I normally like to do my tutorial series is, that's not a word. How I like to do my tutorial series is I like to make the product and then go back and make the video. So basically what I'll do, I won't use this footage, I'll remake it and I'll film myself doing it, and then I'll do voiceover. So basically Control Shift plus F for batch refactor. Nice. So yeah, so what I'll do that. I have to finish this, and then I have to film myself doing it again, and then I'll have to actually do the voiceover, because I like to do voiceover separate from the actual tutorial. That way I can cut it down however I like. It's a whole thing if you want it to look good and be snappy, but that's what we do. All right, guys, I will see you next time. Where's ending? There we go. GG, boys. And then I guess I turn the music up. What do we want to go out on? Dude, I'm so bad at production. Whatever is next is what we're leaving on. In the face of it all, it's very epic. You can download this somewhere. I've got this online somewhere. I should make a pack. Anyway, bye.